Kazakhstani Shavkat Rakhmonov has finally got another fight, and he will fight Irishman Ian Garry. The fight will take place as part of the UFC 310 tournament and has the status of a contender. The fight will take place in the welterweight category, and the ranking of this division, Rakhmonov occupies the third position, Garry the seventh. Is the Irishman so dangerous for the Kazakh? We will figure it out in our video. Please watch until the end. I will tell you the possible outcome of the fight, the strategies for the fight of both fighters, their strengths and weaknesses, and their current form. Ian Machado Garry is still undefeated, but fans are more concerned with his behavior outside the cage, his strange, stupid actions, and vile trash talk than with his fights. In general, he is a classic object of ridicule and even contempt, a character for memes, but this does not prevent him from confidently performing in the league and moving up the rankings. If we talk about sports, then you still won't get to the 7th place in the rankings without talent and hard work, and Ian is exactly there now. He feels best in a stand-up position, throwing unexpected, extremely inconvenient and unpredictable blows. In wrestling and physical strength, he is inferior to Rakhmonov, and quite significantly. Shavkat Rakhmonov is the main star of Kazakhstan and in MMA, a fighter without a single defeat in his career, and the most worthy contender for the UFC welterweight title. Moreover, Shavkat was supposed to fight the champion, but Belal Muhammad dropped out of the fight and the other top fighters refused to fight with him. Rakhmonov has all his victories ahead of schedule, and he rarely even makes it to the third round. There are no obvious weak points or holes in his defense. Shavkat can fight standing up and is very good on the ground. He always chooses a fight plan depending on his opponent. Fortunately, his arsenal and skills allow for variability. This year he has not fought yet, and last year he choked Jeff Neal and Stephen Thompson one after another. Guys, it's time to share your thoughts before I forget who you are for in this fight. Please write your comments and I will definitely read them all and answer. The Irishman is not a walk-on opponent, they trained together, and Garry volunteered to fight Shavkat. It means he knows something. Before that, Shavkat's sparring partners said that he was able to choke Ian, and since he agreed to fight, it means he was able to do something in the stance. Garry himself is anthropologically inconvenient for Shavkat. If we talk about strength, then Garry is fast, breathes well, in fact hits well, but his wrestling is unclear, not good enough. Ian put his unshakable record on the line, which almost brought him to the title opportunity. Garry understands that in case of victory over Rakhmonov, White will have no choice but to become the next challenger for Belal's title. And although many representatives of the MMA community still do not take Garry seriously, very soon he will prove that he is capable of becoming a problem for any undefeated fighter. What to expect from Garry in the fight? In the fight against Page, Ian proved to us that he is not just a talented striker, but also a great all-rounder capable of keeping opponents on the ground and going for wild holds. The problem is that none of his previous opponents could show even 20% of Rakhmonov's wrestling level and physical strength. So Ian will definitely not provoke the ground on his own. Instead, he will tear the distance with high kicks, front kicks, and dangerous straights to the hips and knees. Gary's chances of winning. His only chance to win is an insane economy of strength and competent defense in the stand-up. If he can survive the ground game from Shavkat and save his energy by the 4th or 5th round, he will begin to develop serial attacks in the stand-up even faster, due to which Shavkat can lose points. So it is not so much the technical component as the factor of endurance and muscle and breathing recovery that will be the main ones for the Irishman and the upcoming fight. If Garry does not figure out how to beat Rakhmonov in the championship rounds and kills his breathing, then he will probably end up on the ground again and will not be able to change the course of the fight. How do you like Ian's tactics for the fight? Please write your opinion in the comments. It will be very interesting for me and others to read. Belal Muhammad finally achieved what he wanted and forced Shavkat to have another contender fight. And while the current champion is healing his sore finger, the only one who decided to give their fight to the Kazakhstani, not only on X but also in the octagon, was Ian Garry. And it is worth admitting that despite all the technical and physical superiority of Rakhmonov, this fight will definitely not be an easy walk for him. What to expect from Rakhmonov in the fight? Considering how smart and cold-blooded Rakhmonov was in his last fight, he is unlikely to want to linger at a long distance for long, trying to outshoot Gary's doubles or cutting his low. The Kazakhstani understands perfectly well that he charged in will try to snatch as many points as possible in the first rounds, throwing combination series from a distance over and over again. So the best tactic for the Kazakhstani will be a classic hold at the net with a long transfer, after which he will try to finish Garry on the ground or make another submission. Rakhmonov's main task is to deprive his opponent of the second and third rounds, keeping him on the ground in an uncomfortable position. Rakhmonov's chances of winning. In this fight, Shavkat's camp certainly does not set him the task of submitting his opponent as quickly as possible, spending all his energy on it. On the contrary, the corners will often slow Rakhmonov down, forcing him to wait for a mistake from the panicking Irishman, who will clearly lose focus after a couple of lost rounds. It is closer to the fourth segment that Shavkat must be as collected as possible in order to counter the nervous and aggressive attack of the opponent, who will have only a couple of rounds left for a comeback. Rakhmonov will pretend that he is going to fight in a standing position, after which he will catch the opponent in a clinch on a fake retreat and again try to transfer the fight to the ground. If Shavkat does not compete with Garry in skills in a standing position, then he is quite capable of taking this fight by a referee's decision due to long control and active actions on the ground. How do you like these tactics of Shavkat for the fight? Please guys, write your opinion in the comments. It will be very interesting for me and others to read. In my opinion, the biggest misconception before this fight is the weak assessment of Gary's skills. Many fans still do not consider him a serious contender for the title, indulging Covington jokes and teasing Ian about their story with his wife, but this artificially created image of a silly, simply confidence has nothing to do with reality, and the Irishman's technical and tactical evolution is already noticeable. Although he is not as strong as Shavkat, he will probably be the first to inflict serious damage on Rakhmonov in a standing position for the first time in a long time, and perhaps even force him to retreat at times. However, I don't believe that anyone in the welterweight division has a chance to counter the Kazakh's fight. The Nomad will dominate on the ground for at least 3 rounds, and after a couple of minutes of recovery from the punches he missed in the stand-up, he will turn on the aggressive pressure again and will not let Garry escape. Guys, it's your turn. The main question is, who will win? Write your predictions in the comments and don't forget to look at the description under the video. There is a selection of other very cool videos about the UFC. It is unlikely that Shavkat will stay in the standing position for long in case it will not be difficult to move the Irishman down, and it is simply indecent to compare the opponent's skills on the ground. Garry's chances are only in lucky punch, but Rakhmonov will be ready for this too. He is chasing the title, so he will not take risks. Of course, we do not expect a short and pleasant walk, but the victory will still be early. Stay safe, stay tuned. Yeah. Yeah. Shavkat. Shavkat.